Hi, I'm Julie of Jaybird Quilts, and I'm excited to tell you about the Mini Hex N More. So the Mini Hex N More, it's a cute little ruler that comes on a keychain. Ball and chain can be removed, and it can actually be used to cut shapes. What it does is it cuts the smallest shape of the 4 shapes on the original Hex N More ruler. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to work. Only things to remember is 1.5, 2.5, and 3.5. So to get our triangle and our half hexagon, we're going to start with a 1.5 inch strip. To get our hexagon, we're going to start with a 2.5 inch strip. And to get our jewel, we're going to start with a 3.5 inch strip. So with our 1.5 inch strip, we want to start with our triangle. And our triangle is located same place as the original Hex N More, right there at the bottom of the ruler. You'll see there's a solid line here. Going to line that up, the base of the ruler at the end of the strip. And that shaded area on the inside is the actual triangle, and what's around it is the seam allowance. So we're going to cut. And you never want to cut towards yourself, so if you can, walk around the table. If not, adjust your strip and cut. Simple as that. And then if I want to keep cutting them down the strip, I'm going to flip it since I'm right-handed. We're just going to cut. There's no waste from cut to cut as we walk our way down the strip. Then if we want to switch to cutting our half hexagon, we're going to move to the top of the mini ruler right here. And again, we have a line, which you can see, in the shaded area. We're going to line it up. And we want to make sure we cut that dog ear off as well, because that's going to help us later when we go to put our shapes together. So we're going to cut both our dog ears off. And then when I want to go ahead and cut the next half hexagon, turn my ruler around, line it up again. We're going to cut that off too. And with this, you always want to start cutting the longer piece. If I start by cutting the dog ear, I might go into my strip, accidentally cut too far, have waste. So we want to cut, kind of move it out of the way a little bit, cut our dog ear off. And that's a little too uncomfortable for me. Don't want to cut towards myself, so safety first. Going to flip it around, line it back up again, cut. And easy as that, we've got our half hexagon. So to get our hexagon, we're going to take our 2.5 inch strip. So this is really great for using up your leftover 1.5, 2.5, 3.5 inch strips. You can just start cutting these shapes and have a scrappy mini quilt in no time. We're going to line up the top of our ruler and this line right here. Again, we've got our shaded area that shows us our hexagon. We're going to go as far over as we can so we don't waste. And cut. And then we need to cut here, but like I said, I don't want to cut towards myself. So if you have a mat such as this one at home that rotates, they're really handy. This is a great way to not have to move your strip. If not, it's just as simple to turn the strip around, take our mini ruler, line it back up, cut our next hexagon. And what I found when I teach some of these mini quilts, that people like to not have to move the strip too much. So one way that you can do that with the hexagon is instead of recutting right now, put our mini ruler on there far enough over and just keep cutting along. Cut 2 or 3 at a time, like this. And then after they're cut, go ahead and just turn the little pieces and recut the other side rather than move my whole strip. So very little waste, which is always nice. And just like that, I've got a little pile of hexagons started. So then, to do our jewel, we're going to switch to a 3.5 inch strip. And our jewel basically is the entire ruler. So we're just going to line up that top part and the base, just like that. Cut. And again, this is where the rotate comes in handy. Or just slide it around, line the ruler back up. And there we go. When we go to cut our next one, if we cut it with the fat side in the same direction as the skinny side, we're going to have a big triangle of waste and a small triangle. We don't want to waste fabric. So if we alternate fat side up, fat side down, we're going to have a lot less waste. And same as with the hexagon, if I don't want to flip my strip around again, I can cut this side first and then recut my other side. So that's what I'm going to do. Once you get comfortable with the ruler, you can do a couple layers at a time, and not moving the strip is definitely helpful when you are doing multiple layers. So there we go. And then another handy little trick is if I'm low on fabric or I have leftover 2.5-inch strips, we all seem to have them, they're real common, you can cut a jewel from a 2.5-inch strip. If you have a print or something that has a certain orientation, you might not want to do it, but if it's kind of free form like this, it'll be perfect. Instead of using our ruler like this, we're going to be on the side. And yes, the grain won't line up, but we already have bias edges in most of our shapes anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much. So we can cut. So what I do at home is I cut up a lot of my leftover strips into these shapes, and I just have little stacks of jewels and hexagons and so forth and so on ready to go. So lots of different patterns available to use the Mini Hex N More, and that's how you can use your scraps up, or a lot of them are charm pack friendly. They make great doll quilts or table toppers. So the patterns as shown here, we have Mini Science Fair, Mini Disco, Mini Tiny Dancer, Mini Lotus, Mini Delight, and Mini Northern Lights. And these are actually shrunken down miniature versions of full-size quilts made with the Hex N More. So it's a nice kind of little partner for them. They also make great little wall quilts. So I hope you enjoy this easy little fun mini ruler.